Alright guys, so this video we are on page 62. This is lesson 6. It's about knowing whether or not a ratio is equivalent or not. So I'm just going to work a few examples. This is really easy stuff. So it says, if I saved 24 dirhams after 3 weeks, so we're comparing 24 dirhams in 3 weeks, and how does that compare to 52 dirhams in 7 weeks? 52 dirhams in 7 weeks. Is this the same ratio? Well, what I would recommend doing is just turning it into as close to a unit rate as possible. So here's what I would do. 28 divided by 3. If I divide by 3 on both 24 and 3, I end up getting, let me go ahead and write this here. I will end up getting 7 over 1. So that's saving 7 dirhams in 1 week. And this one, if I divide by 7, that's going to be actually it's going to be about 7.4 in 1. If I divide by 7 on this, and I divide by this one, divide by 3. This is an estimate, but I know it's just over 7 because I know 7 times 7 is actually 49. So it's going to be 7 point just something under a half. So they're not equivalent. So the question really says determine if each pair of ratios or rates is equivalent. It's not equivalent because when you simplify them, they don't equal. One is 7 over 1, the other one's 7.4 over 1, so it's not the same. All right, Marwan can do 75 push-ups in 3 minutes. So 75 in 3 minutes. Ehab can do 130 in 5. 130 in 5 minutes. Are these rates equivalent? Well, let's take this one and turn it into a unit rate. Divided by 3. So 75 divided by 3 is 25 over 1. That's this one. And this one is going to be divided by 5. So 130 divided by 5 is 26. This is going to be 26 over 1. So 25 over 1 and 26 over 1 are not the same thing. So I just say no, they're not equivalent. A human adult takes about 16 breaths in 60 seconds. So 16 breaths in 60 seconds. A puppy takes about 8 breaths in 15 seconds. 8 breaths in 15 seconds. Are these rates equivalent? You know what? Here's another way of figuring this out. I think it might be an easier way. 8 goes into 16, that's times 2. 15 goes into 60, that's times 4. So you see how this is times 2 and that's times 4? Because they're not the same, it's not equivalent. So far we've seen nothing but not equivalent. Hopefully this one will be equivalent. So 270 calories in 3 servings. Does that equal 450 calories in 5 servings? Well, that stinks. Let's just go ahead and simplify it the way I did it at first. You can see if you can find something that multiplies from 3 to 5 and 270 to 450, and if it's the same, then it would be equivalent, but I'm just going to simply divide them again. So this is going to be this one. If I divide by 3, that's going to be 90 over 1. This one, if I divide by 5, that is going to be 90 over 1. So those are equivalent. So yes, these are equivalent. Let's go ahead and keep doing a few examples, because there's really 2 ways of doing it, and I want to show you the other way as well. So 3 dirhams for 6 bagels, is that the same as 9 dirhams for 24 bagels? Well, look, here's the other way. Perfect. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 4 is 24. So times 4 times 3. Not the same, so no, or I'll say not equivalent ratios. Okay, so it says determine if each pair of ratios or rates is equivalent. That's not equivalent because it's not multiplied by the same thing. 12 dirham for 3 paperback books. Is that the same as 28 dirham for 7 paperback books? Well, let's see. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to do the multiply thing, so I need to just simplify this and make them into unit rates. So this divided by 3, 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4, 3 divided by 3 is 1, divided by 7, 28 divided by 7 is 4, 7 divided by 7 is 1. So look, 4 over 1, 4 over 1, yes. Those are equivalent. 3 hours worked, 3 for 12 dirham. Is that the same as 9 for 36 dirham? This is an easy one. So that's times 3. Times 3. You see how they're the same. Times 3 and times 3, so yes. So what you see me doing is actually two different ways of figuring out if a ratio is equivalent. One is, let's look here. One is if you have a ratio like 12 over 3 and 28 over 7, then you can put them in unit rates. 4 over 1, 4 over 1, and if it's the same unit rate, you know it's equivalent. Okay? The other way is you can just compare them side by side. If you take the numerators and you see what they have in common, like 3 and 9, well, 3 times 3 is 9, okay? The denominators need to have the same relationship. So 12 times 3 needs to be whatever this is. And if it is the same, then it's equivalent. If it's times 3 and times 4, that's not equivalent, okay? Let's finish it off with one more. So 12 minutes for 30 laps, is that the same as 48 minutes for 120 laps? Well, how many times does 12 go into 48? 12 goes into 48 4 times. How many times does 30 go into 120? 30 goes into 120 4 times. So those are both times 4, so yes, they are equivalent. Okay, that's it for that video.